I have the distinct honor of introducing Tam Nguyen, who will provide the official introduction of President Virjee. Tam earned a BS in Biological Science and Business Management from UC Irvine, and then earned a doctorate in medicine from the American University of the Caribbean, with clinical rotations in England and in the United States. He also earned his MBA from Mahalo College of Business and Economics at CSUF. Of course, he left the best for last. Today, Tam is president of Advanced Beauty College, his family's business, since January of 2005. Tam is very active on campus as an alumnus and is currently serving as a member of the Board of Governors for the Cal State Fullerton Philanthropic Foundation. Tam is also a member of the board of the Orange County United Way and so much more. Please welcome to the podium this amazing human, Tam Nguyen.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Paul. What a kind introduction. Thank you so much. And good morning, OC Forum. It's an honor to introduce our main speaker. As you have in front of you his bio, I'm not going to go into the details of his bio in his program, but I'd like to encourage you to read that. But what I'd like to share with you is that early on, I had the chance to interact with Fram since the very beginning when he first arrived at Cal State Fullerton. In fact, the very first event that he did and attended was actually the keynote speaker of the Vietnamese American Chamber of Commerce, where I had served as the chair. So he was very active right from the beginning, and it didn't stop. So that was just the start of my first interaction with President Fram, and it was a great precursor for his time here at Cal State Fullerton since that day. Because literally, as you all know, he's everywhere. So I got this number from campus. Since Fram arrived at Cal State Fullerton, he's participated in over 250 events in the community. I thought I was a network and an engager. In other words, he's averaging around 3 events a week. But as many of you who have had the chance, if you spend any time with Fram, those statistics aren't surprising. I also had the chance to interact with both Fram and Julie over the last 15 months on several occasions. Both of them spent an evening in Little Saigon, I love that they got a chance. Sunny of Seven Leaves and I got to host them to many of what I would call just the core essence of Little Saigon, from seeing the fruit markets to our mom and pop businesses and stopping by and trying just new things. And so I appreciate that. They've also came down to my family business for Advanced Beauty College. We were hosting a graduation ceremony for our students who are graduating for hair, skin, and nails. And not only did Fram engage the audience, but Julie, you may not know this, but you will now, she was sitting with our panel of elite nail artist judges that are world-renowned, and she was on a judging panel, judging the top nail art of that day. So if you want your nails checked, please see Julie. Beyond that, Fram, his enthusiasm for the mission of Cal State Fullerton, as well as being able to tell the campus story, is truly infectious. It motivates me, it inspires me as one of our nearly 300,000 alums. It makes me want to get more involved, it gets me excited. He and Julie also have a service of nonprofit, and they're very devoted in helping the nation of Rwanda in Africa as they rebuild there in Rwanda, as well as all of their work in Los Angeles as well. They've also just connected. I mean, I'm a father of 3 young children who swim. They shared with me their kids who are water polo players, and I was just able to, and for them to continue to share stories, and having young alums like me just learn from them is truly inspiring, and I appreciate that. So while Fram didn't act like an interim president, throughout throughout this last year. He's very much celebrated as part of our campus, and we're very, very happy that he was officially named our permanent president in March. Yes, give that. Quite frankly, as I see our board chair, Jeff Hart, and other board of governors, if we didn't get that announcement, I'd be very concerned for our board of governors if anyone would still be around. But that's just how much we love Fram personally, professionally. So without further ado, please join me in giving a warm, tight welcome to President Fram Virjee.
So I have to start by making a comment about when Tam and Sunny decided to take Julie and I on our tour of Little Saigon. They picked us up at Seven Leaves. We had, of course, some great tea before we went, and then amazing tea after. But as we were driving in the car, Tam looked in the rearview mirror. Sunny was driving, and he said, "Okay, are you white tablecloth people or are you street food people?" And we said, "Street food." And he said, "Great." And I knew from then on we were going to have a great night. So good morning. And on behalf of our faculty and our staff and our students, our almost 300,000 alumni in Orange County, I'm honored to be here this morning to talk to you, to share some thoughts about my journey here and what we're doing at Cal State Fullerton. I'm not just honored, I'm a bit amazed. I'm amazed that you would actually get up this early in the morning to come see me and listen to me. But since you're here, I'll make it worth your while. I've got about 5 hours worth of time to talk to you. So coffee up, everyone. Kidding aside, attorneys can talk forever. So I will try to stay within the time parameters that were provided. And if someone's got a hook, when it's time, you can just pull me out. I want to start by talking about this job, the new job, even though I've been here for 16 months. The other day, someone asked me how I asked my new job, if I liked my new job, and I said, it's not really a job. It's more of a mission or a vocation or an adventure. And I summed it up like this. For 30 years, I got up every day and went to work, and now I get up every day and go to school again, and that is really special. And then when they heard this, they said, "Geez, Fram, how do I get a job like that?" And I said, you got to be lucky. You got to be blessed, and you got to be lucky. And that's how I feel today when I'm here in the room with you, is actually very blessed and very lucky. Lucky to have the opportunity to join you, leaders in Orange County, in putting our shoulder to the wheel of what I think of as one of the most transformative institutions, not just in our county or state, but in the nation. Lucky to join our Titan students and educators, university partners, who, as we say, continually reach higher, academically, professionally, but also in service not only to Cal State Fullerton, but to our community. We're very committed to our community. And lucky and blessed to become part of, and I really do mean this, for Julie and I to become part of the Titan family. From now on, I will forever consider myself part of the Titan family. Julie and I tease people and we say, now if you cut here, it's blue, and you cut here, it's orange. We don't have any red blood left. Now I'm sharing with you how lucky and blessed I feel, because that's exactly where I want to start. I want you to know where I am today. I thought it might also share with you some information about some of the explanations I provided to the search committee when I was going through the process for why I applied for the job in the first place. Why I felt compelled to bypass retirement for the second time. And I'm not really sure I would have been able to answer that question 16 months ago. Not sure I really understood why I wanted to do this 16 months ago. But after spending that time interacting with amazing faculty, we have amazing faculty that come from all over the country to teach at Cal State Fullerton because they believe in our mission. Amazing and incredible staff as well, because everyone who teaches and serves at Cal State Fullerton is an educator. All of them help in the education process, and incredible students. It has been an experience that has helped me with that process. process. Be able to talk with highly committed parents who are committed to their students and their students' education, to alumni and emeriti and community leaders who believe in our mission. Work with highly effective administrators. I have amazing administrative staff. And basically to immerse myself, to saturate myself with Cal State Fullerton and see what the Titan family is all about. In so doing that, I've learned the why over the past 16 months. So I was ready to answer that question. And at the risk of sounding maybe a little melodramatic or overemphasizing things, I feel like my life has been leading up to this job. This is what I was meant to do. I have been purposed for this. As most of you know, Cal State Fullerton is an amazing amalgamation full of diversity and inclusion, and that is what we are all about as an institution. And as such, the Titan community is very reflective of me and my story and resonates with me. My dad, as many of you will know, is from India, but he was an orphan on the streets of India when he was a kid. He was, when his parents passed away, the children separated into groups of 2 and 3 and were living on the streets of India. And at 14, he stowed away on a freighter. He tried when he was 13 and they caught him and they put him back. And he stowed away again when he was 14. And he was taken in by the crew of that freighter, and he was nourished, and he both physically and emotionally, and they poured themselves into him. That group of sailors recognized that they wanted to break a cycle that was going on for a child without a family and without opportunity. And over the next 20 years, he rose to be a captain in the Merchant Marines. And that was the result of lots of nurturing and caring for him. So as a result, I and my sons stand on the shoulders of what my father was able to accomplish and what others did for him. I'm a first-generation immigrant. We came to the United States in 1966 on the Queen Mary. As I tell people, I never knew that was going to be in my backyard for the rest of my life. My parents are of a mixed marriage, and that may sound strange. My dad is from India, and he's a very brown guy, and my mom is from Sweden, and she is not. And in 1966, that may sound normal now, but in 1966 it was not when we came to the United States. And it was more controversial and less acceptable. And so I had just a small taste of what it was like to be treated differently and know what difference means. So I am also, of course, a first-generation college student. My grandfather, on my mom's side, was a custodian at our local community college, El Camino College. And my first time on a college campus was going to work on Saturday with Grandpa. That's where I learned to turn a screwdriver, fix a leaky sink, but I also learned about what education meant, what college meant. In my house growing up, as a result of that, it was not whether you were going to go to college, but where you were going to go to college. It was not whether you were going to study, but what you were going to study. And being the son of non-college going parents that were immigrants, it was you're going to be a doctor or you're going to be a lawyer. Those are your only options. And then they saw my math grades and they said, you're going to be a lawyer. And they were absolutely right, by the way. And so when I did finally leave for college, I went to UC Santa Barbara. My parents didn't really know what to do. That we had nobody in our family, in all of our family, on my mother's side and father's side, who had gone to college. And they were hesitant to drive me to school because they didn't know what it was going to be like. And I teased today that I say they sort of slowed down and pushed me out the door because they weren't sure what to do. But they were. I look back now and I understand. They were uncomfortable because they didn't know how to answer my questions that I had. They didn't know how to help me navigate. And my dad had helped me with everything up to that point. My mom had helped me with everything up to that point. And now they didn't know how to do it, what to happen. And I understood what it was like to be a little bit alone, to maybe be a poser. I wasn't sure whether I belonged there or not. But my life is a direct reflection of that public education. I started at UCSB, and then I went to UC Hastings for law school. And in higher education, I found community. I found my belief in social justice and equality and opportunity. My roots go very, very deep into the transformative nature of what public education does for our county, our state, and our nation. It's something I've worked on and believed in for my entire life. My parents did too. When I remember coming down from, I was going to law school, and I had spent a summer when I was at UC Santa Barbara in Washington, D.C., in the Capitol Hill program, working on Capitol Hill, working for a congressman. And I knew that's what I wanted to do. I was going to be the president of the United States. And that's what I wanted to do. And so I knew to do that, you needed to go to Georgetown Law. That's where you went. And so I applied, and I got in, and that's where I was going. I was bound for Georgetown. And I came downstairs listening and hearing my parents at the dining room table. And they were talking, and my dad was talking about selling the family car. And my mom said, well, what are you going to do? How are you going to get to work? He says, I don't know. We'll figure it out. And I realized they were talking about how they were going to pay for me to go to law school. And I had been accepted to UC Hastings at the time, which was equally ranked to Georgetown. And while Georgetown way back then was about $25,000 a year for tuition, it's a lot more than that now, Hastings was $800 a year for tuition. And I walked in and I said, Mom and Dad, I think I'm going to go to Hastings. And they melted right there. I think they got up and danced around. They were so happy. And it was the best thing I ever did because I got to move to San Francisco, and Julie moved from Santa Barbara to San Francisco, and that set our course for our lives. It was a blessing. So I went to law school because I wanted to change the world. I am literally a child of the 60s, born in 1960. And when we moved here in 66, it was the height of the civil rights movement. And some of you are old enough to remember what that was like. That's what I grew up in. And I grew up, my mom is from a big Catholic family, and I joke, I say, when you looked at the fireplace, Christ was in the center, the Virgin Mary on the right, and JFK was on the left. And so, we cheered for Notre Dame, and when RFK was running for president, he became my touchstone and guiding light for the rest of my life. The things that he said inspired me then. And Martin Luther King inspired me then. And I knew that I wanted to make a difference in the world, and that's why I went to law school. The other reason I went to law school is because of my grandmother. My grandma said to me, Fram, you've got to go to law school. I need a good divorce lawyer. Your grandfather is driving me crazy. So, I went to law school, and I had a great time in law school. And I remember when I finished law school, I actually was a summer intern at O'Melveny & Myers in Fashion Island in Newport Beach. And so that was my first foray into Orange County. Little did I know that I would end up here all these years later. And I went to my grandma, and I said, Grandma, I got my job. I got a job at O'Melveny & Myers. And she said, oh, Fram, that's great. I see their commercials on TV all the time. I said, no, Grandma, that's Jacoby & Myers. And she said to me, well, Fram, I'm sure O'Melveny & Myers is a good firm too. And I went to work at O'Melveny, and I was excited about all the possibilities of being a lawyer, all the things that I was going to do to change the world. And I did. I had a great career at O'Melveny. I loved my partners. I loved my clients. I reinvented myself 100 times. I was a .com lawyer. I was a industrial lawyer. I worked in the entertainment industry, in the healthcare industry, because that's what lawyers do as you find new industries and make forays into them. And all along, I always represented educational institutions because of my commitment to public education. And I was blessed because O'Melveny is a firm that believes in sending people into government and bringing them out, providing opportunity for the lawyers at their firm to work in public service. So we were way too expensive, but they did not require the public entities to pay the same rate as our regular going clients. So I was the lawyer for LA Unified for 15 years and negotiated all their collective bargaining agreements and worked with them on board governance. I worked for colleges and universities across the country. I was also a litigator. You know, I loved, you can see, I don't mind talking at all. And so I loved the battle of being the gladiator part about being a lawyer in the courtroom. I really enjoyed it. And O'Melveny was a great place to be, a great place to grow up. But I have to tell you, something was missing at O'Melveny for me, even though I loved it so much. I was at the top of my game in the legal profession, working in Fortune 50 companies in the C-suites and talking to the boards of whether it was Lockheed or Citibank. It was heady stuff. It was really interesting and engaging. You get paid to think. How much better could it be? But something was still missing for me. And as I went through this in my career, I happened upon a book called Halftime, which I read, which is an amazing book by a guy named Bob Buford. And he had started a private equity firm in Arkansas and had built it up into this amazing multi-million dollar business, probably billion-dollar business. But at 50, he looked at it and said, what did I do this for? Where am I going? What am I doing with this? And what is my purpose? How am I going to make the world a better place? And I read this and it resonated with me. And so I went to my partners and I said, I quit. I'm retiring. I'm going to do something different. Julie and I started a nonprofit in Rwanda because we felt like that was a place where we could make a difference. And actually got the gift from my partners at O'Melveny to incorporate our 501c3. And with a little seed money, we started what we were doing in Rwanda. And that's where I thought my calling was. That's where I thought I was going to go for the rest of my life. Spending time helping Rwandans rebuild from the genocide and make their world a better place. And then I got a call. I got a call from the chancellor's office, actually a call from the chair of the Board of Trustees for the CSU system, saying, we're looking for a new general counsel. Do you know anybody who's interested? And I said, sure, I know people that are interested. And I gave them some of them names. And they said, well, how about you? Why don't you do this? Oh, no, I know what I'm doing. I'm going off to Rwanda. I made plans. You know, whenever you make plans, God makes sure that he makes a fool of you. And so they asked me to come and take that job. And I wasn't really excited about taking the job as general counsel. But then the chancellor, who had been there for about 9 months, Tim, said, I don't want you to just be general counsel. I want you to be executive vice chancellor. We're going to work on access for students. We're going to work on financing for students. We're going to work on reforming the educational system, increasing our capacity, throughput to get these kids to maintain their time and get out of college and be college ready. And he said, we have 485,000 students. You want to make an impact? I'll help you make an impact. So I was smitten. And I came to work at the chancellor's office, and it was an amazing job. It was the best job I'd ever had. I was working with those very students that I had seen myself in. I was doing all the things the chancellor said you would get a chance to do, which was have impact, make a difference. And I told the chancellor that I would do this for 5 years. And at the end of 4 years, being a good corporate citizen, because that's what I learned at O'Melveny, I went to him and said, I've got my transition plan. Here's the person to replace me. He's my deputy. I've been preparing him. He's ready to do this. And the chancellor said, yo, you mean Andy Jones? Yeah, he's great. And I said, so I think he's ready. I think when we talk about transition, we'll go off to Rwanda and it'll be fine. And he said, I think Andy's ready right now. I said, oh, okay. I guess I wasn't doing that great a job after all. And then he had this, if you ever meet Tim, he has a sparkle in his personality, but he has a sparkle in his eye. And he looked at me with this twinkle in his eye and he said, I want you to go down to Cal State Fullerton to be the president there. And I about fell off my chair. It was not something I had ever been thinking about doing. I would lie if I told you that I hadn't been fantasizing about being a college president because I had worked with all 23 presidents all around the system. Julie and I, at Tim's request, had visited every one of the CSUs and met with the cabinet and the president and faculty and students and learned the flavor and the ethos of those different campuses. And they were all different and yet tied together, quilted together with the mission that they have for educating our students. And I would look over the fence and say, that is a great job. I got to talk to all the presidents all the time because I was their lawyer. I was their consigliere. They shared all their secrets, their goods and their bads with me because they knew I wouldn't tell anybody, right? So I knew this was a great job. And I also knew who the great presidents were. And I knew who were the becoming great presidents. Better than say that they weren't great, right? They were becoming great. And so I thought about it, and I thought about it, and I thought about it for about 5 seconds. And I said, hey, honey, can we go to Fullerton? And so Cal State Fullerton came into our lives. We thought that it would be traumatic to move to Orange County. Not because it's Orange County, but because we spent our lives in Palos Verdes. I grew up there in San Pedro and Palos Verdes. We raised our kids there. We had the same, we had lived with the same group of families. Our community, our church was there. Our friends were there. We come from a community up there where my youngest son went to high school his freshman year for history, and the professor said, Virjee, I had your father, I had your oldest brother, I had your middle brother. You watch out, I'm watching you. And so we thought this was our community. What are we going to do? And I will tell you, and this is a credit to the people in this room and to this community, we never missed LA for a second. We were welcomed, loved, accepted. People reached out to us right from the start, on campus and off. So Tam's talking about all the events that we've got to go to or had to go to begrudgingly over the last year and a half. I can tell you there's not one that we didn't enjoy, that we weren't embraced, that we didn't feel welcomed to in Orange County. Orange County is an amazingly welcoming place, and we should be proud. I'm a Fullertonian now, so we should be proud of who we are and what we do. But when I came to Fullerton, I felt like this job, to quote Mike Myers, completed me, right? I'd been working all my life in leadership, empathy, strategy, ethics, human resources, diversity, inclusion, education, management, and now I get to apply all those things directly and be with students. And I hoped and imagined this was going to be everything that I thought it would be. So then the question comes, well, you're doing this, because Tim said, go down and do this for 18 months and see what you think. And if you like it, you can apply for the job. And if you don't, nothing lost. You can go off to Rwanda. So the question then comes, when did I think that this was something I wanted to do long-term, forever, permanently? Nothing's permanent in this life, but you know exactly what I mean. How did I know this? There were some watershed events for me, and they were not big, massive events where I saw our rankings in U.S. News and World Report go up, or I saw the number of students that we were attracting as applicants, or I saw the finances of our balance sheet improve. They weren't those things. They were small moments, but they were huge for me, and I'd like to share a couple of those with you. The first is at parent orientation. Move-in day at Cal State Fullerton is an amazing day. We are 65% or so, 63% first gen, right? First in families. We are also about 64% serving students from underserved communities. And so if you go to move-in day, you find all these families moving in, many of whom, the parents, this is the first time they've ever been on a college campus. Parents may not even speak English. They are looking around and wondering and in wonder about where their children are going to be, their treasures that they're giving to us to help move along in life. And I decided to go over to move-in day for about 45 minutes and just sort of check in and show the flag and make sure they knew that we cared. And I got there and I couldn't leave. I remember calling Danielle and saying, I'm not coming back to the office for a while. This is too good. And I got to meet students and meet parents and feel the promise and the vivid, fantastic capacity that was coming onto our campus. And it was inspiring and it was fun. But I was walking around and I came upon a family. It was a son and a father and a mom. And mom was sitting on the bench and she was crying. And the mom and dad didn't speak English very well. They spoke Spanish, and my Spanish is not good, believe me. But I sat down next to mom and I said, don't worry, we're going to take care of him. Everything's going to be fine. I don't think it helped much. But then I saw dad standing back, looking on, and I thought, he's the guy I need to talk to. And by the way, son is rolling his eyes, saying, Mom, Dad, come on. It's not that big a deal. I'm going to have fun. It's going to be great. I walked up to Dad and I said, come on, let's go over here. And we talked and I said, in a couple of weeks, or maybe a couple of months, you're going to get a phone call. And it's going to be late at night. And your son is going to have a problem. He's not going to know what to do. Maybe he's having problems with his roommate. He didn't get the class he wanted. The professor's not understanding him. He's feeling alone. It's going to be something. And you're not going to know how to fix it. Here's my card. Here's my phone number. You call me, and we'll fix the problem. And then you tell him you took care of it. And he stood taller, and he smiled. He shook my hand, and he knew it was going to be okay. And he went back and he said to his wife, it's going to be okay. And it was okay. And I got that call. And we helped him. And I knew then that's what this job is all about. There's another time when our baseball team was doing better than they're doing this year, last season. And we had a game that went into extra innings. It didn't just go into 10 or 11 or 12 or 13, but I think it went into 15 innings, if I remember correctly. And it was freezing out there. And I'm sitting with Jim Donovan, our AD, and everybody else is, Jules left at about 11:30. It gets to be 12:30, 1 o'clock. People are leaving, and I'm sitting with the AD, and we're getting numb and we're getting silly. We're laughing and and we can't. He's looking at me. I'm not leaving. And we stayed there till the bitter end until we won that game in a walk-off in I think it was the 15th inning. And then I knew this is the place for me. This is family. This is what it's all about. Or the story of the concert choir that I love to tell. I think I'd been on campus for about a month, and I'm wandering around campus, and I went up to one of our student success centers in our College of the Arts, and I met a young man, and he was going off to choir practice, to our university singers practice. And I said, he said, we're going to go touring in Northern California. I said, I want to hear you guys. He says, well, we're practicing. I said, well, where are you practicing? He said, we're doing a mobile practice. I said, what the heck is that? They're going around and singing in different places on campus. Well, tell me where you're going to be and I'll come. And he kept texting me and telling me where he was going to be. And I couldn't go to any of those spots. And I texted him back. I said, I'm so sorry that I can't hear you. I really want to hear you, but I have to be in this meeting. And I was meeting with Pastor Mark Whitlock from CORE, AME Church here in Irvine, and with Martha Daniels, who's someone from our board. And we were having a conversation, and there's a knock on the door. Jules was there too. And there's a knock on the door. And in walks the concert choir into my office, 65 of them. And they sing for us. And unplanned, with no anticipation, they sing these spirituals that were just, we were all crying because it was so beautiful. And Pastor Whitlock steps up, and he says to these students, I grew up in the AME Church. It's the oldest African-American organization in this country. I've been singing those spirituals my whole life in church. We sing them every Sunday at CORE. I've never heard them sung better than I heard today. And that's when I knew this was the place for me. This is the place where I want to be. Sharing life with faculty, sharing dreams with faculty, sharing the future, guest lecturing, which is, there's nothing more fun than doing that. We've had so much fun doing that. Getting coffee with historians and arguing about the past. I never get coffee with the math professors because I don't have anything to talk to them about. No, I'm just teasing. Connecting with students with their highs and their lows, with our ASI leaders, with our athletes, with our choral singers, with our opera singers, with our engineering students, our capital fellows, our capstone students in the Mahalo Business School, our Center for Family Business folks, the Center for Healthy Neighborhoods folks, and on and on and on. I will tell you a quick story. Nothing's quick with me, but I will tell you a story because it's so important to me. I didn't know, I was getting ready for my final interview with the board. And I knew all the things I wanted to say, but I didn't know for sure if I would have the right message to give them. I wanted them to feel the essence of what I wanted, why I wanted this job. And so I decided to go walk on campus, which I love to do. And I just went and sat in a spot, and without any prompting, students started coming up and talking to me. And they mostly happened to be ASI, Associated Student members, our student government members. And they were from every color of the rainbow, and they were every gender, sexual orientation, and they're friends. That's what collaboration and cross-culturalism is all about on our campus. And spontaneously, they shared with me why they loved Cal State Fullerton, what it was that was transformative for them, how it changed their lives. I felt like it was exactly what I needed. It fed me, it nurtured me, so that I floated back to my office, and I said, I know where I'm going and what I'm doing. And I wish that was the end of the story. I actually don't wish, but that could be the end of the story right there, but it isn't. I walked into my office, and there was a message for me on my phone from an African-American student that I have been working with and mentoring and talking to. This is a young man who grew up in the worst parts of New Jersey. There are bad parts of New Jersey. And he had seen his friends turn to drugs. He'd seen friends killed in gang wars. And he came west for opportunity. Maybe a century too late, but he still came west for opportunity. And he found Cal State Fullerton. And I had been talking to him because he said, I came here for opportunity, but I don't feel like I'm getting it. He described the way he feels as being seen by everybody and yet invisible to everybody. Hard to find his community, hard to find his place, because there aren't a lot of African Americans in Orange County, and we do not have enough African Americans at Cal State Fullerton. We need to increase and make that a more robust community. I'm not being critical of anyone. It's just something that we need to do. And so I've been talking to him, and he called, and I picked up the phone and called him, and he said, I quit. I'm on my way home to New Jersey. I'm in Utah. He said, I can't do it. I don't belong. And I said, you belong. We need you here. And I talked to him for about an hour on the phone. And I said, if you do not come back, if you do not come back and stand up for what this means, for your opportunity to get education, then there won't be anybody to follow you. But if you come back, I will stand with you. We will make a difference. Please, I need you. We need you. Your community needs you. Your whole campus needs you. Come back. He went on to New Jersey, stayed for a week or two, and he came back. And I just saw him yesterday. He's back at school. He's standing up for his community. That's why I love this job. And I could go on and on for stories like that, but those are the reasons why I wanted this job. Their students, the students that we have and their families, their parents, the faculty and staff are why I'm here. I'm not here for financial gain, believe me. I'm not here to fulfill my resume. There's no stop after this that I'm looking for, so that's not needed. I'm not here for anything other than the success of our students and what that brings as success to our community. Raising up families, the creation of community, increased access, persistence for our students, getting them to graduate and be prepared when they come out into the workforce for you. We are about to graduate 12,500 students in 2 weeks out into the Orange County community. We have almost 300,000 alumni. 80% of them live within 50 miles of our campus. We are Orange County. So we want to create graduates that are not only workforce ready, but that and not only ready for their first job, but for their profession, for their life, for their second and third and fourth job, because that's what the workforce looks like today. And we want to create citizens who are civically engaged, who vote, who care, who give back to community, just like you do. So the CSU, California State University, is the glue that quilts California together. Almost 500,000 students, 3.7 million alumni in the CSU. 1 in 10 people in California with a BA got it at the CSU. 1 in 20 people in the country with a BA got it at the CSU. The impact of the CSU is amazing. And what the CSU is to California, Cal State Fullerton is to Orange County. Let's be very clear. Cal State Fullerton is an amazing place already. It is a great institution already. But I believe we are on the precipice, the cusp of becoming even greater, of doing even more. And if there's anything that's bothered me over the last 16 months, sort of gets in my craw, it's to say we're the best kept secret in Orange County. When I got here, that's what I heard. Oh, you're at Cal State Fullerton? Best kept secret in Orange County. Best? Absolutely. Secret? Don't want it. Don't need it. We want to stand up. We want to be heard. We are not a diamond in the rough anymore. We are a crown jewel in Orange County, and we need to stand up and be proud about that. We're not a secret anymore. We're not a backup school. We are a first choice destination. We had 81,000 applications this year to come start at Cal State Fullerton in the fall. 81,000 applications. Most applications we've ever had for about 8,500 spots. Highest incoming GPA ever, almost 3.7 is the entering GPA for folks. According to Prep Scholar, that puts us in what's called the strongly competitive category, which is the second highest category. It's just below the Ivies and the elite schools. That's where we are for admissions. But those numbers are even more impressive if you think about what I mentioned earlier. 65% of our kids that are admitted first gen. 65% of our kids come from underserved communities. Over half of our kids are Pell eligible, meaning that they are eligible for federal financial aid because their families don't make enough money. And to dispel another myth, we are not a commuter school. Now, we have 300,000 alumni, and many of them came to Cal State Fullerton when we were a commuter school, where what you did was you came to school, you took your classes, and you went home. And you went home to your community. My kids don't do that, because these 40,000 kids are my kids, so that's how I refer them. Now, they come earlier than we came to breakfast. They come to school because they're looking for a parking space, right? And then they stay. They stay until 8, 9, 10, 11 at night. The only thing they don't do is sleep there, and I catch them sleeping there as well. So we are a community. We are a place where they come to live. You know, I asked our amazing vice president of IT the other day to do something for me. I said, can you tell me where our students live? I said, I don't want to know where they came from. I've got that information. What their zip code is at home, where mom and dad are. I want to know where they're living right now. He smiled and he said, of course I can. And so he gave me a map and by zip code. And Cal State Fullerton is essentially its own zip code right in the middle. And if you take that zip code and the one contiguous zip code right next to us, that's almost half our students. They live within a few miles of our campus if they don't live on campus. They're living in apartments of 6, 7 people together. They're still driving. I don't know why. They should be taking Uber or riding a bike or something. But we are a community. This is not a commuter campus. And so one of the things that we are focusing on is how do we enhance that community? How do we make it a place where they can thrive in that community? They want to be on campus. They plan to be on campus. It is their community. It is their home. That's why we say Titans reach higher, because they really do. And for tenacious students at Cal State Fullerton, they're coming to the right place. I love quoting, and some of you have heard me say this before, there was a professor at Duke University about 18 months ago now who was doing a study, and what his study is of grade inflation. How hard is it to get a good grade at a university? His hypothesis or his idea was that, is that once you get into many of the elite schools, it's not that hard to get good grades. And so he was looking at grade inflation within those schools. And so he studied, because all that data is available as long as it's not identified with the individual, the grade distributions at different colleges and universities across the country that are nationally ranked national universities. And then he ranked the top 25 universities in the country for rigor. Which ones are the hardest to get a good grade? Cal State Fullerton, your Cal State Fullerton, number 13 in the country. We are a rigorous institution. We, by the way, there was only one UC on the list, and they were below us. There was only one Ivy on the list, and they were below us. Stanford wasn't on the list. USC wasn't on the list. We were the highest in the West Coast. So be proud of who Cal State Fullerton is. So despite being one of the hardest places to get an A, and despite the fact that adjusted for inflation, we're getting $14 million less than we got 10 years ago, and educating 5,000 students more than we educated 10 years ago, we are still succeeding tremendously. Over the past 5 years, our first-time freshman 6-year graduation rate has increased 32%. Our first-time freshman 4-year graduation rate has increased 48%. Our 2-year transfer student graduation rate, because we take more community college transfers into Cal State Fullerton than just about any other school in California, is up 52%. We've eliminated the equity gap for those transfer students, so our students are graduating at the same rate no matter what demographic they come from. And we brought the equity gap, we cut it in half for our first-time freshmen. Today, we're number 4 in the nation for graduating students of color. We're number 1 in the CSU and number 2 in California for graduating women. We are number 6 in the nation for lowest net cost for a comprehensive national university. We're in the top 12% of Money Magazine's best colleges for your money. And as I said, in a few weeks, we're going to graduate 12,500 students. We're the Big West Commissioner Cup holder. I got to say that. I got to keep saying it because it's not going to be true for much longer because the new season's here. So we're your team in Orange County. Come see us. Come see your team play. Come see not just a baseball game, but our women are number 1 in softball right now and nationally ranked, and we got our fingers crossed. Our golf team just won the Big West. But it's not just our sports that are our front porch. We have amazing performing arts. Our university orchestra is on Friday night is sitting side by side with the Pacific Symphony playing together in Ming Hall. Our jazz orchestra, our large jazz band, our small jazz band last year won the national competition. Our Latin jazz band won the national competition. So I encourage you again, come see a play. Come see the musical. Come see the spring dance recital. Come listen to your symphony. Our students will blow your mind. I guarantee it. It is an amazing thing to see. It's our legacy with this, with what we've been given, to step up and step out and do better. What does that look like from my perspective going forward? Well, it means welcoming the business community into Cal State Fullerton, breaking the transom, making it even more easy for us to work with community and business, seeking their personal, their financial help, for internships, for mentorship, cutting-edge lab space, cooperation and coordinating for community service with corporations. We have lots and lots of hands that are looking for things to do, and we can work with you for community service. Seeking to make Orange County a more inclusive, more supportive, much more uplifting place for all in Orange County. It also means including access at Cal State Fullerton. You know, I'm taken to reminding people over the last several months that Cal State Fullerton is the only CSU in Orange County. Well, that may not sound very dramatic at first blush, but we're the second largest economy in California, in Orange County. LA County has 5 CSUs. The Bay Area has 5 CSUs. San Diego has 2. The Central Valley has 3 CSUs, and Orange County has 1. So we are the best opportunity for so many students to raise up their families. So we have to be a part of increasing access that way. Workforce development. That means preparing our students, not, as I said, not just for their first career, but their second career, etc. I know that when I started 15 months ago, the campus was not sure what to do with me. They thought maybe they sent the lawyer down because the campus had done something wrong. I know I'm not a traditional candidate, but I actually think that's a good thing. I have a whole bunch of amazing traditional educational professionals on campus that can help guide and lead the institution. And I'm bringing a different perspective. I've worked hard with the faculty and staff to make sure that we can do this together. I'm a true believer in shared governance and working together to do things. And I think we're succeeding. We've launched our second full 5-year strategic plan. We're in the first year of implementation. We're in the midst of launching our new philanthropic campaign, first comprehensive philanthropic campaign that we've had at the institution ever. You're going to hear more about that out there in the community. We're recruiting right now for 70 tenure-track faculty positions, more than any other CSU in the state. We have, as I said, our highest grad rates for our first-time freshmen and our community college transfers. We're addressing infrastructure needs by reopening the library after the seismic problems, building new and retrofitting new buildings. Our new promenade is about to open. We are in the midst of completing our new physical master plan. All really exciting stuff going on. So yeah, it's safe to say we're not a safety school. We're not a backup school. We're a first-choice institution for top-notch students, and I hope the word is getting out. I want it to get out. More than $3 billion in earnings from our alumni can be directly attributable to their degrees. For every dollar that the state puts into the CSU, to CSUF, we put out $13.45 into the local economy. We're the largest employer in Fullerton, of course, but we're the 11th largest employer in Orange County. So we are an economic engine, an integral part of Orange County. And we are what I think of as the backbone of the workforce in Orange County. I travel around Orange County all the time, and people tell me all the time, I'll take a Titan. Lots of times they say, I'll take a Titan over a Bruin or a Trojan, and I love that. And they say they'll do that because they persevered already when they get to Cal State Fullerton. They're serious students, and they say they'll take them because they're workforce ready, because they've got lots of experience working in our centers. 15,000 of our students last year had internships. And they say they'll take a Titan because they're culturally competent. They know how to work together with people. That's what we do. Because if you look at Cal State Fullerton and our makeup, we are what Orange County will be in 5 minutes. And we are what California will be in a week and what the nation's going to be in a year. This job, I think, is all about collaboration, being engaged, leadership, working horizontally, working not just on campus, but in the community. It's about vision and envisioning. It's about daring and dreaming. It's about motivating and moving for change. And as I hope you see now, I love this place. I love the university. I love my Titan family. I love the mission. And I love the fact that I get to stay and keep doing this now. So What should you expect going forward? Much of the same, but maybe on steroids, a little bit more energy. We're going to update our goals. We're going to be looking at a transformational experience for our students, for increasing our graduation rates with our GI 2020 Graduation Initiative 2025, more faculty and staff diversity, expanding philanthropy, working on that comprehensive campaign. And by the way, on that comprehensive campaign, it is as much about friend raising as it is about fundraising. It's as much about reaching out to our alumni and making sure they know what's going on so they are proud of who we are, so that they want to pour back in. They don't want to give, they want to invest. They want to invest in this community. If 50% of the teachers and 50% of the accountants and 50% of the engineers and 50% of the nurses that are coming into Orange County every year come from Cal State Fullerton, then this county has to invest in Cal State Fullerton in order for us to continue to thrive and be who we are. So I hope and expect we're going to be a little bit more audacious. We're going to reach a little bit higher. We're going to be transformative. We're going to be focused. And I invite you to join us in that journey. I know that we are going to continue to be an integral part, and I know I'm going to continue to be lucky and blessed to be here. Thank you so much.